Hello, guys, and welcome back to another video. This is the Football Connect. I'm your host, Sam, and we are back again for another one. And I'm really excited, because we are going to be talking about some of the most important things that we need to cover as we move on to the next season, which are the rules that were set since VAR was introduced, because VAR has made a lot of controversial moments last season in the Premier League. And we have a lot of things, or not really a lot, but some of the things that we felt like really deserve to be changed, that has been changed by the Premier League. And we do have other things that we can talk about. And I'm really excited that we're going to be covering them as we get into this video. So we just got a comment right now from Mr. Game Addict. So let me read it right now before we go anywhere far. Yo, I'm at work waiting for this. My dad will probably get mad at me. Oh, you're gonna get in trouble, man. You're gonna get in trouble. But anyway, thank you very much for joining in, guys. It really means a lot to me. Let's see what we can talk about, because we have a lot of things and decisions that has been changed by the Premier League, of course, or by the FA. Let me just get that on the way. And we're gonna be talking about what's gonna be happening. Firstly, I'm not gonna go read exactly like the exact words that were said, because they might really confuse me, and I'm not really in that business of getting confused right now. I just want to cover the most important things that we need to talk about as we move on to some new laws and whatever the Premier League is really planning on to settle, and whatever that they can do, if it's going to help us, especially the Premier League fans, because we are all focused into this and we want to see what's going to happen with the VAR. We all know what it did last season, a lot of crazy situations and a lot of things that happened but we are moving on to this season now, and we're going to be looking at what's going to be happening. So firstly, what I did go through when I was reading these things was that the new rules are going to include some thicker lines. I don't get exactly what that really means, but there's going to be some thicker lines in terms of how they're going to make their decisions and stuff like that. So firstly, the FA are really working so hard to fix the problems that we have been seeing since the VAR was introduced, especially some of the decisions that were made. And a lot of fans have complained through your social medias and whatever we did. So it means that all these decisions were all caused by us, the fans. So if you probably think that your voice does not matter and the Premier League don't see you guys when you complain, now there's the evidence. The FA actually saying that they had to change these rules because the fans were all over their face each and every time whenever their team were either beaten by an unfair decision. Let me just give you, for example, I know we have Manchester United fans right now listening to this. Remember that goal that you guys scored after the game was over, the Brighton game? You remember that one? Yes, like the ref had to call the team back while while the final whistle was already blown and stuff like that. Then Bruno Fernandes scored the goal, and that's how you won the game. So even though they're not doing anything about that, but they're doing to some of the decisions that led to that. Remember, it was a handball. The guy addressed his hand and stuff like that happened, and that's where the penalty was awarded in the last minute. So the Premier League are now thinking of doing something that can at least make sense to help out with this. So firstly, the handball rule. That's the first point that I'm going to cover. The handball rule is one thing that is going to be changed. So what the FA are saying is this: an accidental handball that leads to a goal. An accidental handball that leads to a goal. Like, for example, we all know that, was it the Trent Alexander-Arnold handball that he had before the attack went to the other side of Manchester City and the goal was scored? And in fact, Aguero scored a goal, I remember, but there was a handball to Leroy Sané. Then there had to be some things that happened, and quickly the ball went to the other side and Fabinho scored. And also in the goal going to that other side, it seems like Trent Alexander-Arnold had a handball as well, building up to the goal. So Man City were expecting the Liverpool handball to be ruled out, but it was not, because they said that there were some passes that happened before the goal went in. But the Leroy Sané handball that Aguero had scored was ruled out because they felt like it was a close proximity, but if you look at that handball, it was an accidental handball. But guess what? They said that it was not a goal because they felt like he had touched the ball building up to a goal. And as a Liverpool fan, I was happy about the decision because it made sense, but not exactly other fans or Manchester City fans because they felt like it was accidental. He didn't mean to hold, and the ball was so close to him. It's like Trent Alexander tried to clear, and the ball hit straight his hand and stuff like that. So those are some of the rules that are going to be looked at more in depth by the FA. They're going to look at some of the decisions where you feel like the player had no decision and his hand was at a natural position, but the ball came straight and hit his hand. So they're going to be dealing with those situations to at least try to turn them into proper handballs, if that even makes sense. Let me read this comment from Mr. Elliott, and he's saying that Manchester United versus Crystal Palace handball with Lindelof was a joke, and so was Eric Dyer's handball versus Newcastle. I'll be happy when the FA sort it out. Yes, I remember those handball, by the way, because I was actually doing a watch along over that game, if I still remember properly, and I was actually laughing at the handball when I saw it. But at the same time, I was happy that Manchester United a goal was going against Manchester United. But also the Eric Dyer handball, it was a joke. I remember he jumped right, then the ball as he was going down hit his hand, but his hand was at an unnatural position, and they award that as a penalty. And I was like to myself, if that is a handball, then I don't even understand football now at all because it didn't make sense at all. And I'm really happy that FA have taken their time and they've looked at this situation and they're saying that we need to change these decisions because they don't really make sense. And let's see if they're gonna be able to at least provide some better decisions that can actually make sense to the fans and we can actually accept. And I feel like they need to do something. Some decisions that these VAR guys do, we feel I think we have to have at least, I think we deserve explanation to some of the decisions that they make. I feel like that is also important because if I remember so well, the Pickford injury to Virgil van Dijk, I'm talking about some of the situations that I can never forget, comes under whatever. You remember the injury that Pickford put on Virgil van Dijk? Yes, he was offside, but I felt like the guy deserved a red card because that was a crazy tackle. But the VAR never looked at it. And when they were asked, while we were not seeing them actually giving us that answer, they said that they actually forgot that a man was injured. A man walked out of the game, and they said they forgot to look at that. So I don't know. Anyway, so that's what's gonna happen, guys, in the handball, and we hope that will help as we move forward to the next stage if they do deal with those decisions. Let me read this from Mr. Elliott. He's saying that in the same game against Crystal Palace, they had to retake the penalty too because their guy was slightly off his line. I love it when they lose though. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but funny enough, they did not exactly say anything about movement of the goalkeeper from his line because when that decision was made, we knew that was an advantage only to the goal scorer. You understand? This was going to be an advantage to the guy who was scoring the goal, but not the goalkeeper. The goalkeeper was forced to do things that were really unnatural to them. So that has not really changed, but that is the only thing that we are hearing at this moment. Let me read to that. Pickford should have had a red card 100%. You see? Let me see. If you punch someone and they are offside, then it's still a red card. Yes, it does not matter that they are offside. As long as you have done something that is not supposed to happen to another player, then it should at least be handled as a red card or something like that. So I hope that will be sorted out very, very fast. But anyway, they said that there will be more. There are more decisions that are going to be made and more explanations that will be given to us as we go on, as we're about to get into the season. These are just something, they're just giving us a closer look to some of the decisions that they're making and they're thinking of changing, which leads me to the other other decision that is gonna be done as well, which is VAR in dealing with offside rules. You understand it now. This, for me, has been a problem since the beginning to the end of last season. Why am I saying this? Because we all know that some of the players who were actually ruled out as offside, when you look at them and the defenders, you'll be shocked. Like, you'll be like, what? Was that even supposed to be a red card? Yeah, an offside. But they were given. For example, I'll never forget this game. Liverpool versus Everton again, the game where Virgil van Dijk was sent off because of that injury. You saw the goal that we scored, which was probably supposed to be the third goal that Liverpool had scored in the game. Mane was ruled offside with the sleeve of his jersey. Like, that was the only thing that was offside, the sleeve of his jersey. But all of the body of Mane was onside to the defender. They ruled off that ball and they said that it was offside. There are also other decisions that were also done. You guys can actually help me because you might probably remember those games. But we all know that there are some decisions that were made where we felt like, no, this is not supposed to be an offside, but they were made. So the FA saying that they're looking at that situation. They will provide a thicker line. That's what they've said. Now, that's when the situation of a thicker line is coming on. To the offsides, they're saying that they're going to make a thicker line. I don't know how thick the line will be. If you are still confused, go look at the thumbnail of this video. You will see the line we have at this moment. They're saying that they're going to give us a thicker line to at least explain if the guy is offside or onside, because probably we know that there are a lot of teams that were ruled off that had a problem because of this situation. So I hope that it works as well. Let me read. There is a comment that I just received right now here, which is saying, if you commit a foul, you should get punishment. You should get punished. It doesn't matter if it's offside or not. This is how it should be. At least that is true. That is 100% true. If you commit a foul, it does not matter if you are onside or offside. It means you're not really interested in playing football. You are only interested in hurting players, and that should also be addressed. And I feel like FA are going to try by all means to address that. Do you remember when Lucas Moura was fouled, then the ball hit his arm? When he was on the floor, then Harry Kane scored, but it was not a goal because it was handball. Yeah, they also talked about that as well. They were talking about an incident where they said that if a player goes down and the ball hits his arm when his hands are trying to hold down, because trust me, if I fall straight, like with my arms on my body like this, I'm gonna hit straight on the floor and I'll probably get injured, like in the face and stuff like that. But if I'm going down, of course my arms are gonna move at a natural position to prepare for me so that I use those arms to hold on so that my body does not inflict any harm. But also it happens that when I do that, usually the ball can hit my arm or my hand. Usually, last season, they were saying that those were all handballs, by the way. And probably if that also goes and become a goal, they were saying that those were handballs. If that happens while you were in the 18 area, it was probably going to be a penalty. But now the FA are saying that now that rule does not make sense. And we are going to try by all means to make sure that Lucas Moura does not go through that same situation as well. He was fouled. I remember the game. He was fouled 100%. He went down, and as he was going down, somebody kicked the ball and it hit his arm, and Kane scored. And they said no, because it passed through Lucas Moura, it is a handball, which led to a goal, which I felt like it was an unfair decision. So those are other things that are going to be addressed by FA and as well as the Premier League. So we hope that will as well help as we move on to the next let me just say to next season. So as well as I'm talking about the offside rule, they're saying that they're gonna produce a thicker line. We still don't know how thick the line will be, but they're saying that they're working on making a thicker line that will at least help to make it easy for these guys when they're looking at some incidents which are maybe probably meant to be offsides or something like that, or onside decisions. Nobody knows how thick the line will be. That's what they've said. More clarity will be maybe explained while the season when the season starts. That's what they're only saying, that there'll be more clarity in terms of that, because some of the decisions that were made didn't even at all make sense. I remember one side, I don't really remember it. It was a United game. I think it was Cavani who scored the goal. And if you look at the line that was meant, it was not really an offside, but because I think a little bit of his leg was a little bit forward, they said that it was offside. But now, because they are making a thicker line, maybe if somebody's, at least, let me just say this is my arm, right? If there's a little bit, like if it's like this, your leg is a little bit far away from the defender, then it's gonna be a goal, because they're putting a thicker line, like they're saying. I hope it will make sense as time goes on. But you can let me know what are your thoughts in the comment section, and what you'll be expecting to see. Like what Mr. Elliot just said here, I'm happy that the rules seems to be more reasonable now. Yes, we needed that as the fans. Of course, we were excited that the VAR were catching some of the things that the referee or the natural eye was not able to do, but some of the rules really did not make sense at all. They were so confusing. And now that we are at a point where they are now trying by all means to make it make sense. So I'm really happy about this situation now at this moment. I'm really happy that they're making some decisions that make sense. Now, this other one that is there, which involves the substitution, I don't think it really applies to the Premier League at this moment. I think it only applies to the Championship at this moment. Why am I saying the Championship? What I've been told is this, or what I've read is this. They're saying that in the Championship, 5 substitutions were allowed. Unfortunately, in the Premier League, the teams came and they were all voted against having 5 substitutions in a team. So this does not really serve anything to the Premier League team. But in the Championship, they knew that they had a lot of games, and their fixtures were a little bit more because of the COVID-19. So they needed more substitutions so that they at least rotate those players. In the Premier League, they refused. The only teams that suffocated were the teams that were either involved in the Champions League and Europa League. They were the teams that were really affected with not having more substitutions in the game. But the likes of Aston Villa, Everton, those ones who were not at all in the Champions League or Europa League, did not see any need to have more substitutions in the team. But some of them did get some things. There were actually teams that were relegated, by the way. Not because the team was not good, but they picked up a knock while they'd made more already the 3 substitutions, and they picked up a knock, and they could see that they needed at least another person to enter in. But because that team had voted against the decision, thinking that they're hurting either Manchester City, Liverpool, Manchester United, Tottenham, all those big 6 and other clubs that were involved in the European League, they also felt the pain that other teams were going through. Because let's face it, guys, if we know that Liverpool were playing, or let me just give you this, Chelsea, because they're the ones who won the Champions League. If Chelsea were playing against, let's say, for example, against Real Madrid, of course, it's between Tuesday and Wednesday, right, for the Champions League. They play against this team, then they go on to the next game in the Premier League, and they are forced to only keep those 3 substitutes, and they have to keep probably the same team that is performing well. And you can see that Mason Mount is tired. At the same time, Kai Havertz is tired. And at the same time, Timo Werner is not really performing so well. And at the same time, Christian Pulisic seems like he's really now tired, and they need some changes. They had the problem that they were not allowed to do more of that. So some of the players found themselves coming up with some crazy injuries that were unexplainable. Like, for example, a lot of groin injuries were picked up from the bigger teams than any other teams in the Premier League, because they had to play more games. And of course, their fixtures were congested because of what COVID-19. And at a situation like what can I say, when Manchester United fans were really not happy about the Super League situation, you remember, right? I remember Manchester United had to play, I think, I don't remember other teams that they played against, but I remember they had to play Liverpool again and played another game in a matter of two days. And in those situations, do you expect a team to at least find, or they played Leicester and Liverpool and another team? I don't remember which team was it, but you expect that in those decisions, they needed at least to have five substitutions as to exchange so that it helps them to continue with the same pace that the other team was putting upon them. So I don't really understand what's going to happen in the Premier League, but they're saying that FA, they're going to revisit in the Championship, but would they revisit in the Premier League? I don't know. It's just a matter of what happens. We'll wait and see what happens. Wait, between UEFA are planning on making 30 minutes halftime instead of 45 minutes. Now, with what you're saying is this. It's probably, I did talk about it in some of the videos that I made. You can go check it out. FIFA had come out with some rules. Let me actually check. I think I made some notes in terms of that one so that I make sure that I give you exactly what is happening in terms of these rules. Yeah, okay. So I did make some notes on it. Let me just make a quick one on that one. So FIFA are thinking of changing the football rules as we know them, guys, as they always do. We have lived with these rules for such a long time. We just accepted the VAR and we are still enjoying, and at the same time still confused with the VAR, and we're still trying to make it work better for us than any other. But by the way, and we expect that to be the only thing that remains at least for the next 5 years. But FIFA are not gonna wait on that. This is what FIFA is saying. FIFA is saying that time is being reduced to 30 minutes a half. Now you might be probably confused. Why? We are used to our traditional 45 minutes and it has been working well for us. But they're saying that a game will be played for now 1 hour, which is 30 minutes the first half, 30 minutes the second half, and that's it. And this was also an idea that the Super League were also thinking of doing this. You remember this runaway league that a lot of Premier League teams were running to. We're also thinking of doing so. That's one of the things. European, but watch time stops whenever the ball goes out. This was also one of the most important things. The reason why the game was played for 45 minutes is because if the ball goes out for a throw-in, the timer continues. Whenever the goalkeeper wants to waste the time, you would see Alisson kicking his leg on the floor many times just to eat out some seconds or hold the ball and do whatever they do. But now that the time stops, it does not matter whenever the goalkeeper takes 30 minutes to go get the ball from outside so that it sets to kick the goal kick. Whenever the timer stops, it's done. That's why the FIFA were saying that they're going to change one of the rules. Unlimited substitutions. So it means you can even make 100 substitutions if you want. That's one of the laws that they were thinking of putting, or they are still thinking of putting. Yellow cards will result in a 5 minutes timeout. Now, didn't make sense for me. Imagine when your goalkeeper, let me just say, for example, Dean Anderson gets a yellow card. He goes outside. Who's going to be the goalkeeper for those 5 minutes? I don't know. FIFA's new rules. Anyway, let me continue to your comments because there are now a lot and I'm not keeping up. I hope that does not happen. Yeah, me too. I hope that does not happen. I want the game to remain as 45 minutes, but I think they should find a way to reduce goalkeepers from wasting time. The worst teams in the Premier League did not want 5 substitutions because the best teams had better players on the bench, like City can bring on the amazing players on the bench. Yeah, I never really looked at that one as well. That was also maybe one of the reasons why they didn't want more substitutions in the team. It makes sense, Mr. Elliott. I never really looked at it in that way, I never really did at all. Is the first substitution 100% confirmed and will it be always have? No, it's not confirmed. Like I said, it was only happening in the Championship. It was not happening in the Premier League, but they are gonna try to revisit to the idea as the board of the teams will be hold the board teams and stuff like that. So we'll find out what happens on that one. Yeah, they wanted to make matches 1 hour long so that there is more time for adverts so they can make more money. Yeah, yeah. You know, I never really looked at it as a money scheme, but it also makes sense because remember, we are always glued into our TVs for, let me say, 90 minutes plus also 15 minutes of rest and stuff like that. But also in that 15 minutes, what happens is this: we have the guys who analyze the first half maybe for the 10 minutes, then 5 minutes or will be for the side for the adverts and stuff like that, you understand. But now it means that when they make it 1 hour, they're going to try by all means to include, maybe to make it 20 minutes at the halftime so that they have more time to put more adverts for more money. So they're trying to make more money, FIFA, than we actually think they will. So let's see what happens. They are trying to ruin the game. Yes, they are trying to destroy the game that we have all known and loved. And I hope that we, as the fans, we are going to stand against this craziness and at least try by all means to keep things as we already know them to be. If you watch rugby, whenever there is a break in play, they start their time stops, and also in rugby, VAR works very well. Yeah, yeah, that time stops as well. At the same time, whenever a player gets a yellow card in rugby, there's a 5 minutes timeout. But guess what? There's no a goalkeeper in rugby. You understand? There is though, but not really like a goalkeeper who has to stop a guy from scoring a goal like what Allison does. But I don't know. We'll wait and see what happens. Yeah, we are like we like the game as it is. No need to change the normal stuff. Five substitutes, five instead of three seems reasonable, but unlimited substitutes are just not for football thing. They are for NBA and not football. 100%. Basketball, they are the ones who can say that I don't like this player. Let me take him out. Oh, I think it was better. Let me put him back in. But unlimited in football, that does not make sense at all. I don't know why is that FIFA are busy trying to make football be like rugby at the same time, be like basketball. It does not make sense to me. It's really confusing. It's really, really confusing. Really. They are trying to make football a business. Yeah, to them, football has always been a business. So they just want to continue with the scheme. Let me just say it like that. They just want to continue with the scheme. We need to stop them when they want to make super. We need to stop them when they wanted to make a super league. If all the fans come together, I think we can stop them in the end. If we don't support, then exactly they can't make money at all. So that's true. If we don't support them at all, they can't, at least because all these things are trying to make us accept all these rules that they're making. If we don't stand by them, they will never matter. Because if I don't show up into a game, then there's nothing that happens. If I don't watch the game, then there's nothing that happens. It happened with Manchester United. Let me give you this. I used to watch guys like Terry, YouTubers like Terry, telling the fans that if you're not happy with the decisions that the Glazers are making, then don't buy the image, don't buy the jerseys that they're selling, don't buy whatever they're trying to do this, because that's how they're making money. Don't go to the games, that's how they're making money. Just don't do what these guys expect you to do while they're forcing you to blend in into their new rules or into whatever they're trying to put you into. So if you don't show up into a game, if you don't subscribe to watch the games, then what happens is this: FIFA have to go saying that if these guys are not responding to our rule, let's rethink this decision and let at least go with something that they can accept. So that actually makes sense 100%. But in rugby, yellow cards are a lot less than in football. There are maybe 2 in a game because they know that because nobody in rugby wants to sit out for 5 minutes and make it an advantage for another team while that your team is being attacked. So that's why they're a lot less, and it makes sense somehow more less than in football. So It makes sense, whatever that is happening here, but we will have to wait and see. I want small changes in football, like with offside and handballs, but I don't think we need big changes like 30 minutes. That's a big change. I'm used to come and watch my team for 2 hours because, of course, we have to include the 15 minutes. For 2 hours, I can do watch along for that game. Now I have to come and just cover an hour. Then I'll be like, goodbye, guys. We'll see you. It's done. Then come back again. Goodbye, you guys. It does not make sense. It becomes boring in a way. But anyway, we hope that they rethink these decisions. And oh, by the way, before I go, the other rule that FIFA are trying to make is this: they want to make a throw in a kick. You like what I'm saying is this: whenever the ball goes out, it's not gonna be a throw in by hands. It's gonna be a free kick because the ball went out. So you have to get punished by that. So imagine you have a Trent Alexander Arnold, the ball goes out. Trent Alexander Arnold is gonna set his ball. He's gonna cross it into the 18 area. Either it's gonna be headed by Firmino or it's gonna go straight into the goalkeeper's net. It is a goal. Why are they doing some crazy news? And as well, it means another man is losing his job. Remember, Liverpool 2 years ago they signed a throw-in specialist. It means there is a coach who specialized in throwing in the ball. Now, if the throwing is not gonna be a kick, the man doesn't have a job. Is he gonna teach a guy to kick the throwing better? I thought there are free kick specialists who are helping out into that department. So FIFA are doing some crazy things. They're doing some crazy things that at this moment doesn't make sense, but they are trying by all means to keep changing some things. I think that every time they make a change, fans should be able to vote online it if they want the change or not. Yeah, I feel like it's for the Premier League. No, they don't even do it. They only do it when maybe it benefits them. Like, for example, when the Super League was supposed to happen, they made it the fans thing. They made the fans to participate to go against the Super League. And the fans did that. There were some online things that were made to people to make some votes. At the same time, they were allowed to, by all means, to stop the Super League from actually happening. But whenever they make some decisions, nobody's actually coming in and stopping them from doing those decisions. And I'm just wondering, and I'm just like to myself, why are they allowing this from happening? Why do they let that from happening? I feel like it's time for them to at least allow us to make our decisions in terms of these decisions before they happen. To say that, fans, this is FIFA website. Do you agree with us choosing to make a free kick out of a throw-in? Then we say no. More goals will be scored because we know that there are guys who can score from any angle. Messi will be taking every throw-in for Barcelona. We don't want to see that. We don't want to see that. He will score those goals. Trust me, he will score those goals. So I feel like FIFA have to be serious on those decisions. I actually wouldn't mind a kick in, but it makes it make it so that you can't take kick and it is more than 5 meters. I wouldn't actually want it, but I would. It could be fun. Yeah, you know what? If we look at it into a point of actually just enjoying as entertainment, it might be fun to actually watch some of the things happening, but at the same time, it won't make sense. It won't make sense at all. I don't think that a vote online would be good, but they should be fans on the club's board and in FA representative representing by fans as well. Oh, by the way, the decisions that I just mentioned of this 30 minutes and what they were not really done by the FA, they were actually done by FIFA. FIFA, like the president of football, they run everything. The FIFA are actually football itself. Whatever decision they make, the smaller groups like the UEFA and all the other things like the FA, they just goes in and just follow whatever FIFA has already done or has already made as a decision. So they don't really have any power over those decisions unless and until maybe they at least try to allow the fans to make some decisions then maybe something will happen. Because FIFA, I don't think they'll even allow any fan to come in, because they'll be forced to at least try to get a fan from each and every club, and there are a lot of clubs. And at the same time, they will need to at least try to have a representative from Europe, Africa, and the South America. So it's really crazy. I think the only thing that can work in FIFA at this moment, I think, is some online things that people can vote, and they try by all means to check that they're not biased and they're not using any robotic things to make the favor them more than the people. I don't know. That's what I feel like has to happen. But in other groups like the FA, I think yes, it's important to have at least a fan. In fact, let me just say that the boards of the team, they should do like they do in the Bundesliga. You know that in Bayern Munich, in Borussia Dortmund, and all the other teams, they do have representatives from the team supporters and stuff like that in the board. So no decisions is made unless the boards do agree, which means the fans as well has to agree. Which means if they are trying to sell a team to a different person we don't know, we as the fans will have at least something to say about it before it is actually done. So that will actually make, if the teams itself allow that to happen. I actually had some rumors that Liverpool board were actually thinking of doing that as well, after the fans became angry after the decisions that they had made. So it's just a matter of time. We will have to wait and see how these guys can do in terms of decisions making, and how they're gonna be going with the new decisions that they're thinking of making. But at this moment, guys, these are exactly the new rules that are being made. If you're at a point or something that you enjoyed, I would love if you could find a way to just try to get the clip and maybe post it on some different social media, and try to call more people to come in and subscribe to the Movie Football Connect, and at least try to follow us. It will really mean a lot, because we need to grow as a channel, isn't it? Let me read what Mr. Elliot is saying here. I think that the fans should be on the board, but I think having votes. Oh, I think I've read this one. Yes, I think I did read this one. Is there any other one that I didn't read? Okay, there is. Yeah, I just saw it right now. And I think that now fans generally like VAR. Yeah, I think fans now have actually fallen in love with the idea of VAR. But I think we had to vote on it in 2 years ago, but would not have voted for it. Yeah, trust me. Oh, I hear what you mean. Fans can only make a decision after they've experienced the thing and maybe see the pros and the cons of the idea. Rather than voting before the thing happens, we will be just voting with our emotions. Now I hear what you really mean, Mr. Elliot. That really makes sense. That some of the things that if we just vote without experiencing them, that it will be more motion oriented than at least us making a proper decision after we actually see the idea, if it's going to work for us, or maybe at least doesn't work for us. I understand what you mean. We have actually all fallen in love with VAR now. We love what VAR is offering. We actually love the decisions that it made. Even though we don't agree with some of the decisions, we actually love what VAR is doing. It all makes sense right now. Now I understand what you meant. But anyway, we will definitely see what happens as we move on with it. But the 30 minutes, come on, the game will be a little bit less now. It means that no player gets a yellow card for wasting time, right? If now the clock is stopping whenever the ball goes out. Is that what it means now? I don't know. Anyway, thank you very much. There is another comment before I leave. Okay. And although emotion is important, we should still make smart decisions. 100%. 100%. Smart decisions are really needed in the game, because we all pay money. We are all subscribing each and every day to this thing, because we are really, really into this 100%. We really enjoy what we are watching. We really enjoy what we are seeing. So we are putting so much into this that nobody even can even imagine. I don't know. That's all that I have to say for now, people. Let's see what happens. I'll be back again in less than an hour now, I think. Yeah, in 40 minutes time, to build up to the Brazil game versus Zambia, which I've already set oh, it's already set already. You can see the reason why I had to choose that game. It was not my decision, by the way. I have providers who are offering this one, which is super sport for me in Africa. So they actually give us the game that I watch. So it's not like I decide on a game that I want to watch in the Olympics. They only set the games that I have, and I don't have other guys that can, at least I can divert and try to choose a different game. But this is the only game that I have. It's Brazil versus Zambia that I'll be watching later on. So do me a favor, if you enjoyed this, like and subscribe to the Football Connect. It means a lot to me, guys. Thank you very much to those people who have been subscribing. We are growing, we're growing each and every day. Thank you very much for that, guys. So click the like button, subscribe to the Connect, and if you enjoyed any part of this moment, you can try to find any ways to get it out, and you post it on some different social media. At this moment, I cannot put that Caesar thing because I'm not yet at a point with the subscribers that I have to at least have to use the 2 according to YouTube laws. But yeah, you can actually see it. Don't Rombi, AFTV, even some other TV, they're using this cutting thing that they're using to get a clip that you enjoyed, and maybe you can post it wherever you want to post it. So you can just do the ordinary way, download the thing and cut wherever you want to go post, then try to push people to come to the Football Connect on different social media platforms. Share the streams. It's always important as well. It helps us a lot. Thank you very much, guys, for watching. This has been Sam and the Football Connect. I'll be back again with another one few minutes from now. Goodbye. See you later.
Beats the goalkeeper. You're just lost for words. He is just brilliant. Georgie Best, Diego Maradona.